Welcome to the podcast of CreateConnectConvert.co, a community of empowered businesswomen by empowered businesswomen. Let's dig in. So it's so funny. We were just talking about like dressing for success, and it is like this whole topic came around. And we decided we were just going to like whip in here and create a podcast around the idea of, how do you dress when it's, professional and you want to show up well. And we were joking about Regina loves her long sleeves and Kristy, same thing. And here I am wearing, like, normally I am in a t-shirt and a suit jacket for everything 30-second success. And yet here for this podcast, I'm showing up in tank tops and being playful and fun because it brings a different energy. And I think clothing a lot of times should deliver your energy. So, and I think that's really powerful to really have that conversation around. So, so Regina, jump in here. I know, and Kristy, anytime, because I think that's one of the big things that we talk about. I got so used to wearing my uniform for 30-second success, right? Like I wear the same clothes on stage. I wear the same clothes when I'm doing virtual presentations. I wear the same clothes.
And with your brand colors.
All of my brand colors, right? So like I went crazy when we came up with the branding palette for CCC because there's so many different colors to choose from. And I'm like, so my husband was like, why do you have new clothes showing up? You've got a closet full. I'm like, I need clothes that are the right color for this. So yeah. So matching your brand, right? So there's that. And I think it's powerful though, when you can create a different energy based on what you're wearing.
I had never ever before you and I met and talked and I joined your mastermind, I had never thought of giving presentations in my brand colors. I always was like, okay, well, I'll go with what I think feels comfortable because, public speaking is not an easy thing. I would say an easy thing to do. You always get the nervous bellies before you go on stage or any of that. So any way that you can find comfort and give yourself comfort, and that includes what you wear, is great. And so when you said you wear your branded colors, I was like, wow, what a great idea. I never, thought about that. Um, and it's really fantastic because not only it kind of solidifies your branding, the detail to that all the way through. But coming in here, it's more like laid back, we're just having fun. We do have that color palette, but just leaning into it in our own ways is good. And Kristy and I do share the long sleeve thing. I call it my thunder shirt because, I'm comfortable in it working all day. Whatever comes up, I'm like, okay, I'm productive. Whereas I couldn't if I was in different clothing, I think. So important to us.
And I think that's one of the things you guys have a tendency to lean towards darker colors where I'm like, I'm wearing pink and I'm wearing sage. And even my wall behind me is this one of our brand colors. Right. So I think there's so much fun, you can be really playful with it, especially when it ties to your brand. Kristy, like, what I know that you like wearing dark colors because it's kind of your color palette, right? It works well with your skin tone. So talk a little bit about that because I think that's something else a lot of people don't realize how important that is. The colors that actually are suited to your cosmetic makeup, I guess.
Yes. I happen to have very dark hair, very dark eyes, very pale skin. I often joke that I'm, part vampire. But and for the longest time, I used to buy whatever was on sale. And it didn't matter whatever the color was. It was like, oh, this is great. This is my type of fabric. This is the cut that looks good on me. It's on sale. And then I got tuned into the concept of seasonal dressing. And I really see why a lot of people gravitate towards that. Now, I know that a lot of people don't, and I completely respect that. I just know for me, if I wear pastel colors, I look sickly. Like people start taking donations like, we think she might be ill or something.
Oh
Like
my
it's
gosh.
it's just I get so washed out. And for me, I'm a winter. I look best in I can wear black, I can wear white, but I look best in jewel tone colors.
Yeah, I can see that. I can
My
totally see that.
my my particular brand kit, my colors are gorgeous forest green, hunter green, um, gold. Now I don't look good in gold, but brown, chocolate brown, and different shades of brown, and also navy. So you see me in networking meetings a lot of times wearing the navies, greens, browns, and I think it's just such a for me I really feel like it just helps us energetically connect with our brand that much more. And it's I feel like when I'm wearing the colors that really even off duty when I'm not working, I still wear colors that are, in the winter palette because I show up differently. I show up with more confidence. My head is held up high and my shoulders are back. Um, and it's funny because I'll go into the stores and sometimes it is hard to find the color palette that ideally suits you. So one tip I would offer to our listeners is go online. Like I love to shop at Kohl's, I love to shop at Macy's. Go online because there is a whole world of options online. For instance, for whatever reason, I feel like I can't really find a whole lot of hunter greens out in the store, but yet if I go to Kohl's.com, I am spoiled for choice. So if you can't find something in the store, go online because there's such a wealth of options there.
I have to
Great
say,
suggestion.
Oh,
oh
thank
yeah,
you.
I have to say that speaking what you're saying, in my 20s and in my 30s, I was so about fashion. I mean, I had everything. I put up accessories and shoes and bags and jewelry. Then I started getting older and it started getting less. I mean, I still watch the Met Gala every year. I watch
Mm,
all the fashion shows. I'm totally into that. But I'm leaning towards this shirt, these pants, this jacket, and can I just buy 20 of each? You know,
yeah.
and not even I don't even want to think anymore when I go into the closet and put things together. Just I already know what I like. Just get the colors and put them together. And it's so different than I was in my 20s. It's baffling
Yeah.
to me.
I
You know,
know, right?
how much I loved it, but now it's it's like decision fatigue.
Yes.
Well, do you remember? I don't know about you, when I was in my 20s, like I wore those six, the really big stiletto heel shoes. There's a commercial out right now. This girl has these really dynamite pink shoes, and I'm like, let's have them in turquoise, right? So it is amazing to me exactly what you're saying about how fashion no longer needs is like that driving force, and yet I have realized that what I'm wearing really changes my personality. I want to say not necessarily changes it, but actually brings out, like I feel different when I'm dressed up as
Yep.
opposed to when I'm in my business attire, as opposed to when I'm wearing a pair of shorts and barefoot around the house. So I think that it really, like you said, Kristy, it really heightens your confidence when you're dressed in your brand colors. That being said, one of the things that I admire greatly Jay Leno. For years, one of the things that he always talked about was he always wore the same denim shirt, the same denim pants, the same shoes, and then for work, it was like he always wore the same color suit, white shirt, and the only thing he ever changed was his tie, right? Because it creates simplicity in his life so that he didn't have to think. That's one less thing he had to think that was going to take up his time of thinking about as opposed to focus on what really matters.
Mm. Mark,
I thought, wow, that's powerful,
yeah. Mark
right?
Zuckerberg's the same way. He wears a t-shirt and jeans and he has sort of this stable of t-shirts that he wears. He said, I remember the first time I read this about him, and the quote was something along the lines of, I have so many decisions to make throughout the day. Me getting dressed, I don't want to have to waste the energy or the time thinking about that. And to Regina's point about finding something that you love and buying it in multiple colors, I do the same thing.
Yeah.
For me, it is absolute bliss when you find a really great piece that you know will go the long haul in your wardrobe that you could have for years, and you find it on sale and you buy it in your brand colors. You buy it in, or if it's for say off duty, and you buy it in your color palette, and the mixing and matching, and how do things marry with each other? How do the pieces marry with each other? How like longevity, durability,
Hmm.
how long will they last? And then, the caring for them. And I
It's
just,
like putting together a capsule
it
collection.
is. Yes.
And if it's hard for anyone, I would recommend, like we know Kristen Kelly, who's a stylist,
Mm-hmm.
to
Mm.
find a local stylist and just say, this is what I need. This is what I want. I just want the cut of the pants to look great. I want them to hit at the right. I'm 5'2", and to find a pair of pants that I don't have to hem is an impossibility. The petite size don't even matter. Like they're either still too long or then they get shorter. It's a whole thing. Anyway, all my shorties out
Why I
there
started wearing
about.
that's why I started wearing capris, right? Like that solved the problem.
Yes, I know. The regular girl capris fit short girls perfectly. I'm like, yes, this works. So to find those pants that hit right, the shirt that hits right, that doesn't
Mhm.
bunch up on you, the jackets that have a really nice cut, and bonus, of course, Christy, if they're on sale, and
Mm-hmm.
if they can help a little bit, pull some stuff in, and smooth it all out, it's great. So finding all that, but just in little pieces.
Yeah.
Um, and
And
in
when you
neon
find
colors.
something that you love, buy the backup, right?
Right.
I don't know about you, but I love Lands' End t-shirts and I wear the same colors. So every year when they're on sale around Black Friday is my favorite time to shop for stuff like that. And you can get Lands' End through Kohl's, just so you know. Um, I buy extra and I keep them in long sleeve and short sleeve, and I have them in my closet because I'm one of those forbid they ever stop making this shirt. I'm in trouble, right? Because I love this shirt. And I did the same thing with like I have my orange suit that I wear on stage, right? And it's the orange blazer, the orange pants. A lot of people call it red. It's like a red orange. And I've got just a blazer that I wear for virtual, but then I have a second blazer and a pair of pants to go with it for on stage. And then I went because I loved the suit so much and it fits so well. I actually went out and bought the same suit in navy blue to wear with a green shirt, just just to have a little bit of a difference when I'm
Yeah.
on, like when I'm on stage or and I again, it's like buy the backup, right? Like I same thing with shoes. I finally found shoes that I absolutely love. I have them in three different colors. I have can't tell you how many pairs of Flojo flip flops I own at this point in time because they're like my favorite flip flops. And it's just it was funny because one of my neighbors said to me, he goes, "My mom has sneakers and she has 20 pair of the same sneakers in her closet. So she doesn't ever have to deal with finding new sneakers." I'm like, you're
Oh,
absolutely right. You got to
it's the
find what
best.
fits. Yes, you got to find what's comfortable. And why keep trying different ones if you find one that's comfortable? I'm like, I'm at that stage of just be comfortable, wear what you like, and don't worry about. And I think fashion has really changed. There's really not like how years will go by and every year it was like a whole new trend. I don't see that as much. Do you guys?
There's subtler shifts in,
Yeah.
in the collections, but they're there. And, of course, there's this whole backlash against fast fashion, which is those cheap, fast shirts that you wear for 2, 3 years and then they fall apart because
Yeah.
they fill up the landfills and it's just a global problem. So to find really good classic pieces that what you said, both said that last you forever because of the way that you care for them, that's really important. And I love sites like ThreadUp, THREDUP.com, where people sell their gently used clothing, and it's from amazing brands,
Yeah.
all across every spectrum from, couture to
Yeah.
good and less expensive clothing, but still good. And you just give it a new life. And I love that, because
Yeah.
it's it's recycling in a way. That's my take on it. So
What do they call that? Upcycling?
upcycling. Yeah.
Mhm.
Upcycling. I love that. And I think that's a really great valid point. So thank you for having this conversation. I think this was, just like spur of the moment. It's a great conversation to have. And it's important, right? It's important to building your brand. And one thing I will say is find a brand that is totally you.
Mhm.
I noticed I have a friend of mine who shows up in black and white. I have another friend of mine who shows up in red and white. And I always see in their, like, my people have told me the same thing about my orange jacket. When they see me, an image with my orange jacket, they know to stop because they know it's me. So
Mhm.
it is recognizable when you are wearing your brand colors and you're wearing them with consistency.
Yeah.
So I hope you guys got a lot out of this quick conversation. I think it's really valuable. And if you want to, have deeper conversations with us around branding and brand colors, happy to do it.
I'd also like to hear from our listeners. What do you do? If you leave comments for us, we'd love to engage in that, because I'd love to hear what they do as well in terms of fashion,
Yeah.
and how they revolve around it too.
I
Yeah,
agree. I
yeah,
agree.
please. Definitely.
And
Definitely. But we love hearing from you.
I would also say too, and I feel like I talked over you, Laura. I apologize.
No, it's okay.
I'll say this quickly. As I was, as I've been listening to our conversation, I think about the journey that each of us has taken, and I'm thinking about the journeys that our amazing listeners have taken throughout their career. Maybe so many of our listeners worked in corporate, or for it could have been for a small business, but um, or a larger company, but they were um, dressing in a certain way, like more corporate. And then now they become an entrepreneur. So it's, what is the scope of my business? And does what I'm used to, the way I'm used to dressing, does that lend itself to my new business? So I feel like we could have more conversations about this topic and talk about the
Mhm.
journey and the style evolution that we go through in future
I love
episodes.
that. Style evolution is important,
I'll
right?
make a note of that.
And I think too, there's a level of professionalism that comes with being a business owner that we need to encourage people to embrace, right? I think that's important because again, at the end, how does it make you feel? How do you show up in the world? And a lot of times that has to do with how you're dressing, how you're, are you wearing makeup, right?
Yeah.
Or, are you
Yeah,
showing up in, you know, are you drinking out of a mug that says FU on it? That's not a good idea. I don't know, but it's important, right? Have you, and we could go on and on about this because there's been times where I've shown up for folks on video and they look like they just like rolled out of bed, still have the pajamas on. And like,
Yeah.
we having a business conversation?
I think
So,
it's just the
and
way it is, and I don't know. It's If that's how they feel comfortable, that's how at least for me, it's like, all right, let's roll with this.
yeah, and I think Zoom has changed a lot of things when it comes to how we do show up. And I think that has a lot to do with it. There are some people that I'm okay with, like if we're just having a chat and we're having a conversation and we're girlfriends, just open your pajamas. I don't care if your hair is done. But if we're showing up for business,
A
to
business
have
meeting.
a business conversation, don't be eating your breakfast.
Oh, goodness. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, that's a whole nother conversation, right? So listen, this was a great conversation. I'm glad we had it. And yeah, let us know your thoughts on this. I know this could probably we could probably have opened a Pandora's box with this one. I don't know, ladies.
I like it. I
Thanks.
like anytime we can talk about fashion.
Yeah. Yes, I know, right?
Though I have my own capsule collection, but I love it.
Well, always just remember to always be creating, always be connecting, and never stop converting your dreams into reality. And that's a wrap for today's episode of CreateConnectConvert.co. We hope you're feeling inspired, empowered, and ready to make your next bold move. Remember, the journey doesn't end here. Head over to CreateConnectConvert.co to download our latest resources, sign up for our upcoming events, or hop on the wait list for our exclusive mastermind community. There's a seat at the table waiting just for you. Thank you for tuning in, and be sure to click like and subscribe. We'll see you back here next week to dive into another game-changing conversation. And here's a little something to carry you until then. Keep creating, keep connecting, and never stop converting your dreams into reality.